Lori here. I'm here today to do my top 10 Tuesday, which is sponsored by the Artsy Reader Girl. Sorry, I've gotten a little bit off of doing these, but I just had a lot of content I wanted to give you guys after BEA and BookCon, but I am back. So I'm going to talk about the top 10 short stories or anthologies that I've read. There's a bunch more on my reading list. I fell out of the reading one every month. I really do want to get back into it. It's been a lot of stuff I want to read, and those really haven't been an interest to me at the moment, but I am getting better. So the first book I'm going to talk about is probably one of my favorite anthologies, and that is the Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. And this is set right after the Heavenly Fire series. And this is probably one of my favorite books in the Shadowhunter series. It's not a book, but it's a series of short stories. Simon is my favorite character in the entire Mortal Instruments world, so getting a book from his perspective was kind of awesome. And I really enjoyed this. I've talked about this book a lot. I recently re-listened to it. Finally caught up. I'm about to start Lord of Shadow soon. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this, and I thought that it was a solid bind up of stories. I thought that it really was a nice bridge between the two series, and I love Simon being a lead. It was great. So this is definitely one of my top anthologies that I've read recently, and I really enjoyed it. Next one I'm going to chat about is probably one of my favorite anthology collections, and that's Meet Cute. And this is just a collection of meetings. This is actually one of the first books I read in January when I was doing an anthology a month. I love this. I thought that this was adorable. I got this from BloggerCon last year, and I really loved it. I thought that all the short stories were so good. I love the concept. Some of these short story collections I don't love. Like, there's been a couple that I haven't loved, but this one I simply loved, and I will talk about the Stephanie Perkins ones later. I love those. I just thought that this was a really cool idea. It was really diverse. I mostly enjoyed all the stories. I really did. I thought they were good. That's why I wound up keeping it. But it was so fun, and I really loved all the concepts. I loved the diversity. I thought it was great. I was really, really impressed by it. So if you've not picked up this short story collection, I really do recommend it. Talked about this in my January reading wrap-up, so go check out that. I'll give you guys more of my thoughts. But overall, it was such a fun read, and if you're looking for kind of something to read over the course of like a month, this is a great collection as well. Next anthology I have to chat about. It's Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken. I think this anthology, I think it's called Sparks Rise, is probably one of my favorite novellas ever. Like, it was emotionally gut-wrenching. You do definitely have to read the Darkest Mind series, but I still have never read the last story in this. So as I realized when I was doing a reading vlog about a day ago. So what I'm going to do is after I see Darkest Mind, I'm going to re-listen to the whole series, and then I'm going to read this collection like as I go through. But I'm really excited to dive back into the series. I'm reading Darkest Legacy right now, and I love it. But I thought that these novellas were really interesting because it gave you information that you could never have got in the typical canon. I love there was a Zeus story, there was a Sam story. Sam's story broke my heart, so prepare yourself emotionally before you read that, and I haven't read the last one. But yeah, that novella alone is worth the price of admission for this book. I did like the Zoo one, and I actually now want to go back and read it now that we're getting a book from Zoo's perspective, which I'm reading right now. But yeah, this collection, especially that story, if you've read the Darkest Mind series and haven't read those stories, you really need to go back and read them because I thought that they were all phenomenal, but especially Sparks Rise. Chat about is Summer Days and Summer Nights and My True Love Gave to Me by Stephanie Perkins, or edited by Stephanie Perkins. These are definitely the first anthologies that I ever read, and I loved Stephanie Perkins as an author, and I just love the theme of these. They were based around seasons. They were super fun. I loved all the authors. And then again, I thought the diversity was really, really well done, especially in the Summer Days and Summer Nights one. I just love the concept for the stories. I thought it was great to do it seasonally. I wonder if we're ever going to get like the other seasons, like spring and fall. That would be cool. Stephanie Perkins, if you happen to be listening, that would be a great addition to your collection. But yeah, I just really liked them. I thought they were super fun, and it also definitely, like, most of these short story collections have like other authors that I've never read, so it definitely inspired me to like go pick up stories from their like novels, full-length novels that they like wrote. and I was really intrigued by that. So a lot of these stories inspired me to like go pick up new authors. So again, if you're like want to find a couple of new authors, I would recommend pick up any of these anthologies and go off the stories that you like. But I definitely like these because they were themed, and I love themed anthologies. Most of the times I really enjoy them. A couple of notable exceptions, but these were definitely high on my list of favorite anthologies. The next anthology is the first anthology set in the Shadowhunters world, and that is the Bane Chronicles. I remember this anthology I read over the course of like a week. I think I had hurt my foot or something, so I couldn't like move, but I think I read it over the course of like a weekend, and it was just fun. Magnus Bane is just a super fun character, and just seeing all the hijinks that happen, because he has such a long life because he's a warlock, just was fun. You got to like learn like subtle stories. You got to see stories of his past, his present, his future. Well, not his future, but like past and present. You got to see outtake scenes when you didn't get to see him in the book, and I just thought it was great. I really, really liked it. I love that there was different authors taking their turn with Magnus. I thought that was really interesting. I really did like her Shadowhunter Academy one, as I talked about before, but this one was just a fun like look into the life of Magnus Chase, and I just really liked it. I found it super fun to read, and I got through it really fast. But it was definitely one of those anthologies, one of the first short story collections that I actually ever read. That and Summer Days and Summer Nights. Those two I think I read the same year, and I really enjoyed both of them. I do own the Stephanie Perkins ones. They're actually right behind me. I can't show you, but it's on the back shelf with all my Illuminate books. They're right there. That shelf is tightly packed, so I can't do it. And I also own the Stars Above, which is part of the Lunar Chronicle series that I will talk about now. Series that I really did like it. I want to re-listen to this series and then reread the stories, because I think that most of the stories will make a little bit more like sense to me, because it's been a while since I've reread especially the first 3 books in this series. But I simply adored the epilogue that we got. It was like basically the price of admission, and I read it on my computer, which I don't normally like to read books on my computer. But I read over the course of like a day as well, and it was great. But I love that story so much. If you're an Illuminate Files fan or the Lunar Chronicles fan, and you have not read that story, you really need to read it. Get it from your library just to read that story, because that story was definitely worth it. I love that story, and it was just so fun. But I definitely did like the other stories, but that one definitely for me was a standout, and it's why I'm mentioning it in this video. Next one is the Assassin Blade, which is from the Thorn of Glass series, and I have a very conflicted relationship with this series, which I will talk about now. I started reading these books right when I went back to grad school for the first time, so that was like 4 years ago, and at that point I think book 3 had just come out, and they were massive. So bringing those to school was not a fun affair, and all my books up until Empire of Storms is all signed, so I didn't want to bring them. So now I just have to motivate myself to, most likely I'm gonna have to either like read a summary of up to book 3, because I really forgot everything, but I desperately want to finish the series. But I did love the Assassin Blades. I thought it was a great like introduction to Selena and like her past. I thought that it was really well crafted. Like they all like fell into each other really well. I thought that like it could have even just been like a novel, like you didn't need the short stories. I thought that the stories were so well crafted, so it definitely makes me want to go back to this world. And I do have the audiobook for book 1, so what I might do is I have a lot of stuff to listen to, but I might read some summaries and maybe do Queen of Shadows next month. I don't know. I'm debating, because I really do want to catch up, and the last book comes out really soon, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch fully up, but maybe I can at least get up to Empire of Storms by October. We will see. But overall, I really did like that collection. I thought that it was great, and it definitely made me intrigued to read more from Sarah J. Maas as well. The last book series I am going to chat about, or the last short story collection, is when Percy Jackson meets the Kane Chronicles, and it's like 3 stories where Percy and Annabeth meet Sadie and Carter, and I just thought they were great. And here's the cover where they finally came out, but they were like being released individually, but then they did like a complete bind up, and this is what the picture looks like. I really liked both these series, but seeing them together and interacting was just super fun. And I would love one day, which will never ever happen, but I would love like a book series where they're like interconnected more, because I think that their dynamics were so fun, and I really just enjoyed them as like a pairing. I thought that they are working together was super fun. But if you've not checked out those short stories, I know the Kane series, the Kane Chronicles, does not get nearly enough love, but I really liked it. So if you have not checked out that series, maybe check out the short stories and see if you want to go back and like read that series. But I overall really liked it. I actually own them all. They're all, I cannot get this to go, but they're right there on that shelf with the Illuminate file books. Ah, there we go. They're right there on the top. On the top. On the top. Yeah, right there. Alright, well, these are my top 10 short story collections. Let me know yours in the comments. I do have a bunch more that I want to read. If you guys want to see my TBR, let me know and I'll happily do that eventually. But I hope you guys are having a great day and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.